Hello everyone. Tell me, in your life, have you looked up at the stars? Have you seen an alien? Have you watched a movie about space? Have you heard these verbs that I'm using? These verbs are in the present perfect tense, which is what we are going to talk about now. But first, we are going to start with the basics of the present perfect tense so that it is easy peasy. Let's start here. The basic structure of the present perfect tense is a helper verb, which is have or has, depending on the pronoun, plus the main verb, which is in the participle form. What is a participle? What is this? Well, each verb has 3 forms: the infinitive, the past simple, and the participle. And the participle is what we care about most. Now, for regular verbs, it's pretty simple. In regular verbs, the past simple and the participle are the same, and we form it by just adding ed to the infinitive. So, like in look, looked, looked. Dance, danced, danced. Clean, cleaned, cleaned. These are regular verbs, and they are the easiest to remember. Then there are some irregular verbs, but they follow a similar pattern. This is when the past simple and the participle are still the same, but they don't add ed. For example, like bring, brought, brought. Win, won, won. Leave, left, left. Now, there are also some irregular verbs that are just 100% irregular because each form is different. And there's no trick here. You just have to work really hard to memorize all 3 forms. Like get, got, gotten. Swim, swam, swum. Or dive, dove, dived. Now, let's get back to the present perfect. When do we use the present perfect? Well, we can think of the present perfect like a bridge. This bridge connects the past to the present. Actions that start in the past that continue to now. To understand about what this means, we have to think about time. Finished and unfinished time. There are some periods of time that are over, done, completed, like yesterday, last year, last week. Yesterday, I ate pizza for lunch. Last year, I went to Segovia. Last week, I met my friends in the park. These actions started and finished in the past, so we use the past simple. But what about times that are unfinished? Like today, or this year, or this week. This is where we use the present perfect. Like today, I have studied English, and I could study more. Or this year, I have been to 4 countries, but this year isn't over. I could visit more. Or this week, I have slept really well every night, and I will probably continue to do so. So this is when we use the present perfect in our unfinished times. So now let's talk a little bit about how we form the present perfect. In the affirmative, it's kind of like a lot of the sentences that I have already said. Like, I have slept really well every night this week. Or they have been to 4 countries this year. But we have to remember that with he, she, or it, we don't use have. We use has. He has been very helpful for me today. Or she has been a great friend. Now, let's talk about some negative sentences in the present perfect. In the negative, we have to remember this important word, not. We put it between our helper verb, have, and the participle. Like, I have not slept very well this week. Or, they have not finished. Or, he has not been very helpful today. Now, when we speak English, a lot of the time in the negative form, have not becomes haven't, or has not becomes hasn't. Okay, now finally, let's look at the interrogative form, which is how we ask questions with the present perfect. And like I did in the beginning of this video. In the interrogative, like in most questions in English, our helper verb and our pronoun change places. So we have I and then the participle. Or have you plus the participle. Have you looked up at the stars? Has she seen a movie about space? Have they heard about the present perfect? So these are more or less the basics of the present perfect. And the basics are the most important to get started and to start trying some exercises. So give it a shot, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.